Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone can hear me. Let me check if um, we are live. I think we are live. Do share with me where you are connecting from. The live is going to start in a jiffy, but let us hear from you where you are connecting from. It will be nice to know where you're connecting from, and we can just set the tone before everyone else joins. And before we kickstart this, hello, Miss Geography, my moderator for today. I see you. Where are you connecting from? It would be nice to, you know where you're connecting from. And do share the link with your friends, your family. Today we are going to do a lot of learning and unlearning. So that would be very nice. Hello, Miss Geography. How are you doing? So we're just giving it up for people to join, and then we can get this going. I don't know, but if you can share in the comments what your expectations are for today's webinar. Some interesting data that I have here from our respondents. So it will be great to also know in the comments what your expectations are at the end of the day. All right. So we are just going to give it a few minutes and then we will start the webinar. This is also public for those who will be watching the replay. Do well to connect with us from the various channels that you can as well. Okay. So we are just going to start this in a few minutes, 2 minutes countdown, and we will start this. It's also interesting to know that this webinar is not only for our guests, and as much as it's been organized for other people to learn from it, it is also for me because I'm looking to learn a lot from this webinar today. And I hope that at the end of the session, we would have learned a lot of things and be able to be encouraged as to how to pursue our PhD dreams. So yeah, I'm here for all of it. Okay, so we're just gonna count down a few minutes and wait for others to join. Hold on a second. All right, so we are counting down to a minute and then we will kickstart this. If you're just joined, this is our pre-PhD webinar organized by Worry Africa. And we have an expert here who's going to be our guest for today. And he will be sharing a lot more about how to navigate your PhD dreams. We are going to start in the next minutes. If you have joined us, let us know where you are connecting from and what you're looking to achieve at the end of this webinar. I hope that after the webinar, your concerns would have been, identified and assisted. Hello, Perpetual. Where are you connecting from? Do let us know where you're connecting from. Okay, my time is up. Great. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching me. My name is Lydia S. and I'm with Worry Africa, and I'm gladly honored to bring you this PhD webinar, which is a global opportunity for students to study in research. Today, I'll be joined by Erica, which is Miss Geography. She's going to be moderating the chat for us with your questions and whatever that you would like to know. By way of introduction and what we do, we basically assist students on their education journeys to Canada, to the US, and to different parts of Europe and across the globe. We were happy to put this together for students who are dreaming to pursue their PhD studies. And if you just joined, my name is Lydia SNM, and I'll be your moderator for guiding the conversation today. Now, the reason we organized this webinar was because we identified that most of the students that we assist or people who reach out to us on various channels obviously want to know how they can start their PhD journey. And for me as a consultant, that has not been my area of expertise. So, knowing that I could partner with an expert who can help students to navigate all these things, it was great to, put this together and also give students the opportunity to be matched to professors who are in need of students looking to pursue PhD. Now, an interesting survey that I found when I was researching into this webinar taught me that most of the students, and this was out of 3,800 students across 107 countries worldwide, stated that about 49% of these students desire to study abroad to experience what the culture and the desire to experience different cultures outside of their home country. The next reason was because of funding issues, basically economic issues and all of that, right? So this tells us that majority of students are always interested in finding funding opportunities, right, in order to pursue studies overseas. And by the end of this session, we'll walk through everything that you need to know through your PhD journey, from choosing your research topic, which is actually one of the most important things, to securing a professor, to preparing your application, which would obviously make you competitive in getting funding, right? I would also like to say that today's webinar is brought to us by Streamlined AI, which was created for graduates who are looking to navigate PhD research where they can be able to match and connect with professors, which will focus on their future and on their search. Let me know where you're connecting from. It will be nice to connect with you. Leave your questions in the chat, like this video, and share with your friends or anyone who desires to start their PhD journey in the future. At this point, I would like to introduce my guest for today. So, my guest today is Dr. Amos Oppong, and he is an AI technology entrepreneur and experienced researcher. And he has co founded two AI technologies, that's Daps Connect, DepSCNet, and Streamlined AI. He is a co founder and CEO of DepSCNet, an AI powered solution for minimizing up to 99.99% of errors in big data. Don't worry, I have tested the platform, so I know. By estimates, data errors and poor data quality cost Ghana 10 to 30% of GDP annually and will get worse if unchecked. Dr. Oppong and his team of experts are implementing DepSC Connect, a novel AI-powered technology to minimize up to 99.99% of data errors, which will help to avoid an estimated 12 to 24 billion dollars loss in Ghana's GDP annually, plus spares the generation of $2+ billion additional revenue annually from domestic and untapped sources of Ghana. For the past decade, Dr. Oppong has advised over 700 PhD students successfully. So, I'm happy to introduce you all to our guest today as I bring him upstage. Hello, Doc.
Hi, Lydia.
Great to have you today. Which part of the world are you? Because anytime I'm engaging with you, you are at some different part of the world.
As of the moment talking to you now, I'm in Ghana, but don't be surprised if you find me in the US tomorrow.
I know. Great. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, and congratulations. You recently
Thank you.
became a Mr.
Yes. I don't want to flex. I don't want to show
Interesting.
my rings here.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Dr. Pond, to anyone who is watching us or listening to us, um, before the end of this webinar, what is that one thing that you believe they can take away from today's conversation?
No matter who you are, in as much as you are prepared to study for the PhD, believe in yourself. You can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're
So, I
welcome.
believe that we are going to have this conversation in various facets, and I'd like to begin the PhD journey. So, this is from a perspective of someone who doesn't know where to start, where to go. It's interesting that about 49, 44, 54% of our participants have their master's degree and are employed. However, majority of the applicants came from Ghana. We have India, we have USA, we have China, we have Canada, and then Nigeria. So this was a global registration, and we are happy to note. One of the most reasons that people have sort of like hindered the start of their journey was financials, so like funding, and
Yeah,
others were looking at finding the right area of research, and others were also looking at finding the right scholarship. I hope that by the end of this webinar, all of these issues would have been handled at some point. So,
sure.
I want to begin this PhD journey because I believe that everything starts with identifying your research interest. So, let's explore this, right? How can a prospective PhD student clearly identify and refine their research interest from a perspective of a student?
Thank you. I mostly share this joke that as a student, if you've ever complained, believe me, you have a research idea. Anything you've complained about in your personal life, in your business, uh, you can turn it into a research idea. Yes, but in general, a research interest is something that addresses a key problem in society, and then you would find a supervisor to help you supervise the project, to help guide you step by step throughout your PhD journey. Then it's something that you can also complete in time. If it's going to take too many years to complete, that is not a good idea. But maybe 3, 4 years, you'll be done with it. That'd be awesome. Next is something that your professor would also find it interesting. Something might be interesting to you, but not interesting to the academic community. So you have to focus on interests of other people, especially your professors. Yes. So in general, finding a research idea, it's not that difficult. If you know of any research keyword, the other tech you mentioned, Streamlined AI, was built for that purpose. Streamlined with the D and then AI.app. Users can try it. All you need to do is search a keyword, maybe computational socioeconomics, maybe development economics, maybe neuroscience, and then the AI would suggest professors in that field that you can contact. So, a research idea or a research interest in general is something that society needs help with, and you are convinced that society needs help with it. You would find a professor to help guide you. The project is also doable in a given timeline. Probably 3, 4 years will be enough. then you yourself, you are ready to spend the rest of your life on that one, because after graduation, probably you jump into the workforce or as a professor, continue that research. Thank you.
Wait, great. That's amazing to note. So I'd like to find out, right, knowing that you have to find a research that is of interest to you, right? What are some of the strategies that we can use to explore a topic that's viable for doctoral research? Because it doesn't have to be anything that is of interest if it is not researchable. So, what are some of the strategies that students can explore?
There are several strategies, but those who want further clarification can, of course, reach out to you and then to me. We provide to them. The best that I often recommend is first get a research interest keyword, search about the keyword, and then uh, s- get a list of professors you want to contact. Then for each professor, check the research publications, pick maybe one of the publications. Any research paper that you find has limitations, any of them. So let's say you pick Professor Lydia, and then you find one of the research interesting publications, maybe published in the journal. You can leverage the limitation of her paper to contact Lydia. That approach is highly viable because Lydia has already published the paper, so Professor Lydia is already interested in the field, and you have found a loophole in that paper you want to address. Arguably, Professor Lydia would be interested in it. There are many other ways of finding a good idea. Some of them reading articles online, reading research papers online, listening to the news, listening to the complaints of people. And I'm glad that most of our participants already have work. Listening to what your customers say or what your managers say or your colleagues. You can leverage all those challenges as a new idea. But for me, I always suggest that the professors that you want to find, pick one of their papers and then find a weakness. Of course, if you need help in finding the weakness of research paper, of course, I'll be available to also help you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was quite in depth. Like I think sometimes we underestimate research because we feel that it's so far-fetched, right? Like when you said most of us are working, and just by listening to our clients, we should be able to identify like pain points of research of interest.
Yes.
But I know that you're also well vested in research. You don't research only in the educational part, but other parts of research. So I believe you can inculcate all those expertise. Now, so once we've identified our area of research, what what's the next step in shaping the preliminary research plan? So I'd like to ask, right, what should be a strong initial research plan or a concept note? What should it look like?
Thank you, Lydia. Something concise, simple, straight to the point. Most professors you contact do not have enough time to read lengthy texts. So
Mhm.
something simple and straight to the point. I often argue maximum of 150 words in your first draft should be enough. For example, I can use this meeting that we're having as example. The problem is most prospective PhD students have a limited knowledge on what to do. Next is the few that know what to do, they struggle to go through. That's a problem worth researching into. Yes. So for my PhD, I want to research into ways that PhD education can be relatively easier for first time applicants. That can be my objective. Then I follow with Professor, I've read one of your research and I find that you are interested in higher level education. Yet. So for my PhD, I would like to explore something about the idea aforementioned. I'll be interested in meeting with you for further discussions. This example I gave wouldn't even get you 100 words, but it's concise, it's straight to the point. Yeah, so something concise, straight to the point, and you can link it to the interest of the professor. is good
Hmm.
enough for your first draft.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're watching, I hope you are taking notes because I am taking notes because by 2027, I want to start my PhD. Now that I've
I
said
look
it
up to
on my YouTube and on live webinar, I have to hold myself accountable.
I look
So,
up to
so I mean, so all of this preparation from finding the topic of research and trying to start the research plan, even before meeting the right supervisor, we believe that, like you said, streamlining and basically just keeping your um, conversation apt, right? I know that a successful PhD depends heavily on the supervisor alignment. I know that most of the supervisors are always having issues, or professors, with finding the right match, meaning they have either not investigated what the professor has already done and they are just coming in with a different area of expertise, area of research.
yes.
What are some of the strategies that students can identify in order to get faculty members to be aligned with their area of research?
All right. So, from my experience, I would answer your question, but from my experience, some students also can identify a link between what they want to do than the professor. However, when they meet the professor one on one, I don't know what happens. All the preparations vanish. Yes.
Mm,
So some of the students are not capable of expressing themselves. And I found that as more of a communication issue. Is a communication issue. Yeah. So making sure your interest fits the professor. The key is whatever you say, make sure there's a link to the professor. Whatever you say.
mm,
Yes. The professor might ask you some question that you throw you off your idea. Find a way to bring it back. For example, why do you want to study in Canada? The professor is in Canada, all right. This question is not about the professor, but find a way to bring the professor in. Yes. Someone could say that I've been reading on several professors and I chanced on your profile. I was lucky it's in Canada. So I brought the professor in without necessarily stressing more on Canada.
yeah.
Yes. So it's more of communication issue. And as I said, those who are interested, we have other training programs that we can train them on. It's more of communication issue. Students have the idea, they just don't know how to put it, or they just don't know how to say it to the professor to convince the professor. Yes. That's the biggest challenge because connecting what you want to do to your professor is not that difficult. It's not difficult. It's the presentation, the
Mm.
presentation. So when they need help, of course, anyone who needs help can contact us. We can help them out. Thank you.
Right. I actually was going to ask about that question, that part of intimidation, right? I find that very, easily with most students who are either intimidated or they cannot express themselves. They've
Yes.
actually prepared, even for when I consult for clients, right? They are mostly intimidated, and I have to like pass a joke or something to loosen them up, and then they can feel free and express themselves, and then they start talking. I don't know if anyone else is working in that field and they can relate to this. So I really, really love that point of not to be intimidated and to always, bring the professor back in. I,
Mm.
I, I feel like sometimes they do that deliberately just to see how fast you can think on your feet and to bring you back on track, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
also believe that you cannot want to go into PhD if you've not worked on your communication skills and your, stage fright and all of that. And you
Yes.
really need to make a great, strong impression if you're communicating with supervisors or professors globally.
Yeah.
Because the thing too is there are a lot more students that they are waiting to engage with, right? So that brings me to my next question about The initial after the initial contact of students, right? Often students are often enter a period of conversations or informal interviews. It's interesting to note that some of the supervisors may not ask you questions relating to research, but they want to know about you, how you think, and all that stuff. What questions should students ask during meetings, like with potential supervisors? Like, what kind of questions?
Thank you. In general, professors assess your ability to succeed in the PhD under two umbrellas. Number one is research readiness. Research readiness. Any professor has his or her own pathway of assessing whether or not you are research ready. And anyone who's research ready, from my experience now, I can tell. Next is research interest fit. So, yes, a professor might ask you questions that you believe a, is out of context, but it's not. The prof is trying to trick you. Your last point, the keyword I would use is argue. Any good PhD student should be able to argue. In academia, it's more of argument. Myself, I write a paper, publish. Another author will write a paper and then criticize me and then present an improvement. Yet, so you must be able to argue. The questions come under the two headings: research readiness and then research interest fit. As to questions that the professors would ask you and the way they will ask you, it depends on the professor. But in general, all the questions will come under these two: research readiness and then research interest fit. The research readiness is mostly about your academic, your research skills, your analytical skills, your ability to argue and then present your research. That's what comes under that heading. For the research interest fit, of course, it explains itself. Whatever you want to investigate into, you must be able to demonstrate that it fits into the interest of the professor you are interviewing with. Thank you.
Nice. That's really good to know. If you're just joined us, we are having a free webinar here for our students or potential future PhD students like myself. And we are here looking at the pain points of some of the of pain points of what some people would, experience while on their PhD journeys. If you have just joined us, please take your notes cards because we've learned a lot so far. If you would like us to share resources with you, Erica, my moderator, she's doing an amazing job in the chat. She would send a form in the link, send a link in the chat for you to fill so that we'll be able to send you the resources as well. If you have any questions regarding to all that we are discussing, we'll be more than happy to assist you. And this webinar is proudly brought to you by Streamlined AI. We mentioned that in the conversation earlier. Streamlined with a D.ai helps you to find your perfect match for supervisors during your research. Now, Doc, you mentioned some mistakes that we have to avoid. What are some of the mistakes that we should avoid when we are engaging a potential supervisor?
From experience, some students try to, what should I say, lie. They
Mm,
don't have the skill, but they pretend they do. But professors have the ability to detect that you have the skill. I'll give example. Someone could say that I pay attention to details, but when you check the CV or the research proposal, there are several errors in the draft. Yes. So, people, I suggest you do not lie. Do not lie, even if it's a weakness you have. Find the professional way of addressing it. Accept the weakness and even jump in how working with the professor would help you minimize the weakness. And even prior to the PhD, what steps are you taking to minimize that weakness? Yes, so do not lie, do not exaggerate. Uh, Else, it goes like you. don't know what you're trying to do, and there's a high chance that you might not even graduate from your PhD, which would also affect your professor's reputation. So be open, be honest. Yes, it's okay to receive a no from a professor, but you'll be happy joining a professor who loves you for who you are and is willing to help train you to become the expert you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. So, no lying, no exaggerating, and
No.
accepting your weakness. Doc,
Yes.
there's one thing I'd like to ask you. In this day of AI, we get
Mhm.
people using AI for their statement of purpose for, let's say, a master credential. How dangerous is it for a student to just copy and paste from AI for their research papers?
I would say first read instructions, maybe admission instructions before you use the AI. There are some institutions that permit some amount of AI and other institutions that permit zero AI. You can still use the AI, but let it guide you. Do not use the AI as the ultimate decision maker. It wouldn't help you. And I am into AI myself. AI can hallucinate a lot, a lot. And I'm sorry, PhD is extremely competitive. You don't have to give room for failure. So yes, there are many forms of AI that you could use for your personal statement. Rather, let it serve as a guide. As a guide. Anyone that I help who uses AI for personal statement, research proposal, drafting, research plan, I would always advise use the technology to create a path. Maybe if you don't know how to argue, you can ask the AI. The AI can tell you the steps to go through to argue. Then write with your own words. Till today, any research that I do not worry myself to drop it in any plagiarism checker because I wrote everything by myself. Yes. So leverage the AI is a skill you need to get, but do not copy AI. You can get it wrong a lot
Mm.
of the time. Thank you.
Students, I hope you are taking notes because I am. So, we've been looking at the pain points for PhD students. We looked at how to find and refine research topics. We've looked at how to develop a research plan. We've looked at finding the right supervisor, which was one of the pain points of most of our participants that registered. We've looked at how to contact potential supervisors and engaging those supervisors. Now, I like to look at how to secure the supervisor support. I know
Mhm.
that supervisor support is often one of the greatest determining factor if they are
Yes.
going to accept you on the project or on the research or
Yes.
they wouldn't. So,
Yes.
what signs would show that a supervisor is open to supporting the application? I mean, your application.
The the most dominant sign is mostly the professor would even suggest pathways you could use to refine your research plan. Most professors who are willing to accept you would do that. So, oh, Lydia, your idea it's nice. Rather add this, modify this, and then send me the revised version. That is a good sign. That's a good sign. Yes, and then next is some professors would even suggest a new topic to you to write a new plan, then share it with the professor. Mostly professors, if you do not hear from them a few days after your interview, there's a high chance that it's a no for the professor. Yes, some other professors might be too busy, and some of them might even contact you weeks after your interview. But mostly, if a professor is interested in you, they will suggest ways to improve your draft or even suggest a new idea. Most of these new ideas are projects that the prof is working on as we speak, or it's a project the prof wants to work on in next year or next 2 years. Thank you.
Right, that's really informative. If you've just joined, please remember to like the stream and share with your friends. We are learning a lot today on this PhD webinar. So that is Great point, Dr. Oppong, regarding how you can see that this potential supervisor is willing to get you on board, asking you to tweak your research or a few things in your research. But what happens if your top supervisor all of a sudden declines? Like, how can a student deal with the disappointment?
Okay, so PhD, it's highly competitive, and I would suggest that any student contacts as many professors as possible. Um, some students choose to focus on one professor. There's a pathway that can almost guarantee you joining that professor's lab, but it takes extreme preparations. Yes, to fit the professor, the interest of the professor, and then to become arguably the number one choice of the professor. There's a pathway you can do that. Those who are interested, I would be available to guide them.
Mm,
But a top choice professor, you would find sometimes after you join the PhD is probably not a good idea. Yes, some students will pick professors because the professor has published hundreds of papers. There's a good side, there's a bad side to it. Others would also pick professors because, oh, this prof is young, and then the prof has energy to support me. There's a good side, there's a bad side. Yes, but it's normal to receive to get a no from your top choice professor. It's normal, and do not take disappointment as your last stop. I'm sorry, but as you try to join PhD, you'd receive several no's from professors. But it's okay. All you're looking for is a few yeses, and out of the few yeses, just maybe one admission with full funding. Yes. So if your top choice says no, it's okay. Move on to the next one. And to your surprise, you might even be able to partner with your top choice after you get into the PhD. It's also possible
mm,
because you're now into the PhD, you want to publish a research paper, so you need to collaborate with the professor. As a PhD student, believe me, the professors have a high chance of joining you as a co-author, provided your primary supervisor agrees to it. So if finding the program was a level where you received the no from their top choice, it's okay. It's okay. Move on and then apply to your other professors. And you find that those other professors are equally good, like your top choice.
right. If I'm going to be honest, not many of us know how to deal with disappointments, and especially on a journey like a PhD one that we have invested so much time, effort, tweaking the thing to the professor's,
Yes.
interest. I feel
Yes.
like at that point, if the supervisor declines to not work with you again, that can be really disappointing. And but we appreciate that feedback of not to only stick to one professor, meaning that you can work with more than one professor at the same time, as long
Yes.
as you are willing to put in the work of
Yes.
working with either of them. Okay,
Yes.
that's good to know.
Yes.
I
In
didn't I
fact,
didn't know
I
that.
even I even advise you keep communication with as many professors as possible
Mm-hmm.
until you receive an offer and then decide that out of all these offers I have, I'm picking this one. I'm sorry, but you have to keep your options open. Yes. Yes, it might be a disappointment to the professor, but it can also go the other way around. A professor can also disappoint you.
Mm.
Yes, maybe the prof has funding today, but after your PhD offer was released, for some reason the prof lost the funding. For some reason.
Oh yeah, that is also a very genuine reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So keep your options open and then reach out to as many professors as you can. And the streamlined AI can help you find, it depends on your research interests, it can help you find like thousands of professors in your field
In
in
few
seconds.
seconds.
In seconds.
You can test it in
In
seconds.
seconds. Yes.
Um, yeah. So after, I mean, we've been going through the whole journey of getting to the end of the PhD journey, but they are like bug in all of those topics that we've touched on. The next one, obviously, will be preparing your application pack documents, right? Obviously, after securing an interest from a supervisor, you are likely to move forward with your application package, but you have to get the documents intact. So
Yes.
I know that for lower higher education like masters and all of that, the documents you're probably looking at are your bachelor's certificate transcript, your a resume, your recommendations and all of that. But what documents are typically required for a PhD application, for instance?
All right. It depends on the department. I encourage anyone, once you settle on the professor you want to apply for a PhD at the department of that professor, read on the admission requirements. It's mostly specified. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's in general what you already mentioned, and those in the art and then the computer sciences. Art, for example, you might be asked to submit your art portfolio. And then those into computer science, you might be asked to submit your codes, also portfolio. Yes. And then those into acting, the media sciences, you could also be asked to submit a demo. A demo, yes. But in general, it's the list that you gave plus a research plan or proposal. Yes, and then of course the detailed requirements are always provided on the website. If you don't find it, any PhD program has a program coordinator. You can email them, and then any detail you want, they will provide it to you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Doc. So you mentioned portfolio and research proposals. Like if you're going to put your package together and you want to strengthen your application, because at the back of your mind, you're looking to get funding, right?
Yes.
So, how can one strengthen these statement of purpose, their portfolio, their research proposal? Is it by having the supervisor go through or the professor go through or someone who has been there before to go through for you? Like, how can one strengthen their application?
In general, first you follow the requirements. Then, if your supervisor be lenient enough to help go through, yes, submit it to him or her.
Mm,
If you also have some people who are into the PhD, the same program, the same department, you can also contact them and then they would also advise you. Some of them would respond to your messages, most of them probably not because they're too busy. Yes. But in general, follow the instructions and then make sure that your submission is, if put together, are all trying to achieve one objective. Maybe this portfolio is about AI on human health. The other portfolio is about AI on well-being. Well-being, for example. If your PhD is on well-being, focus on the well-being. So if you want to add even the human health, add the human health and design such a way that the human health is a broader perspective of well-being. Yet, so try to narrow it down to a specific objective. Yes, which is getting to the PhD under professor supervision, under the professor's research interest. Thank
mm.
you.
Thank you, Doc. I believe that we've really been on a journey from finding your research topic, developing the research plan. We've looked at finding the right supervisor. We've looked at contacting potential supervisor and engaging with them. We've also
Yes.
looked at securing supervisor support. And now we've just discussed how to prepare your application package. Obviously, I believe that you are now going to be submitting that application and
Yes.
to the school based on the requirements and what maybe your supervisor is looking out for. So that may be the next step um, of submitting your application. Do you by chance have an idea of, let's say, a turnaround time of um, getting feedback from the school after one has submitted their application?
For several PhDs, when you read the program website, there will be an estimated timeline that the decision will be taken.
Mm-hmm.
And for several PhDs, it depends on the deadline of the program. It depends on the selection criteria. Yes, but for most PhD for fall, For fall, for most PhDs between December and March, mostly those who would be awarded full scholarship will be contacted by then.
Mm.
Yes, but it depends on the country, depends on the department. It's also possible it can extend to May. Yes, but again, if you have questions about the turnaround time, you could email the program coordinator. If you're even lucky, you can even email the admissions committee, and they will tell you. They will tell
Mm.
you. And there are other portals that you could track the progress of your application. Yes. If you are unable to track, as usual, you could email the admissions committee or the program coordinator, and then you'll be updated accordingly.
Mm.
Thank you.
Right. I mean, good I asked that question. But then before that, I know that for most PhD programs, you may require interviews, especially if you're looking to get funding.
Yes.
How should students prepare for scholarship interviews? It is one pivotal role within the PhD journey.
All right. You need to be able to establish that there's a need. You need it. And next is once the funding is provided, it would support you to achieve your objective, which is completing the research and then the mandatory coursework. Yeah. So being able to identify that you need the money, there are several ways you can do that. As I said, those who are interested in consulting, I'm available to help them. There are ways you could show the need that you have the funds. And in fact, people think if you are from a poor family, it's a guarantee that you get the scholarship. And arguably, no. Yes, someone can come from a rich background and still be awarded the scholarship. Maybe
Mm.
not because of their parents' influence, but because the person was able to to stress the need. Yes. PhD is expensive, and the costs, if you could risk and push the cost to a funding provider, which is in the form of a scholarship, yes, of course, you should do that. So people write essays that I am from a poor background. Uh, yes, you can be awarded with that, but you need proof. You need
Right.
proof. And it's all about articulation, being able to argue, express yourself. Yes, because from my experience, I've been guiding students. You mentioned over 700 of them the past 10 years. And I would say more than half are from rich homes, but they were given full scholarships with stipends. Yes, it's
Right.
the articulation, how you present your case.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people at interviews crying, hoping that the scholarship committee would consider them. I'm sorry, but um,
Oh,
sometimes it might not work. In fact, most of the time it might not work because from evidence, most people can fake it.
right.
Yes, so it's more of being able to establish that you need it, and then when you get it, you'll be able to do A, B, C, D. Yes,
Mm.
thank you.
That's interesting to know. I thought like once you, for instance, say that I'm from a poor background, they would, you know, just give it to you.
No, no, no.
Okay, that's good to know. So fast forward, let's say that you've gotten the offer.
Yes.
Hallelujah. You got accepted into the program. And what are some of the factors that you would consider before accepting a PhD offer?
It depends on the student. There are some students who want to study in Canada, no matter what you tell them.
Hmm.
Yes, so it depends on the student, their choices. But for some students that I've met, some of them will even check culture, some of them will check weather, some of them will check the availability of a community from his or her home country at the destination. Some of them will check the size of the scholarship. Some of them will check the length of the program.
Hmm.
Yet there are many things to check. In terms of making a decision, I do not decide for people. I just tell them the choice you've made. Why did you make it? Once they explain, I would explain further to them the pluses and the minuses of their choices. Yes, but everywhere is good, and at the same time, any country that you travel to, there are pluses, there are minuses, and at the
Right.
same time, any professor you work with, I'm sorry, you should expect the prof to be human. So both the positive and the negative sides of being human,
Mm-hmm.
you'd face them. Not just scholarship and admission. It applies to even the human, then the department itself, for example. Yes.
Okay.
So there are several variables people would use to decide, uh, and I'll be open to discuss each individual case, of course, at a
Yeah.
later date.
Mm. Great. So before I go to my next question, I would say that please leave your questions in the comments because we'll have a Q&A session briefly and we'll answer all your questions in the chat. So I believe that in this journey that we've started from getting your research topic and finding your research plan all the way to accepting the offer. Obviously, if the PhD is out of your home country, you would have to apply for your visa and
Yes.
depart into that country. I mean, we are not immigration officers or lawyers, but based on experience and how to guide you, that may be or will be the next step if you're, let's say, in Africa and your PhD is in Asia or the US or wherever. You obviously have to get your documents ready and all of that. But, Doc, I want to ask you when you decided to go to do your PhD in China, right?
Mhm. Yes.
How did you prepare for the relocation? If you can just share that experience with us, because a lot of students
Mhm.
are in this category. Like when they're traveling out, like it's a different thing altogether. But share your experience with us.
All right. I would say it was an excitement because I didn't know where I was going, but I was ready to go.
Mhm.
Yes. So summary, I didn't know where I was going by then, but I went like whatever it goes, whatever it takes. I am moving on to the next phase of my life. And glory be to the Creator. When I arrived, everything was awesome. Yes, the good, the bad, I was able to channel everything to form who I am today. Yes, so anyone who gets the opportunity to travel to study for a PhD, you'd be highly uh, happy. Rather, when you join the PhD for a few weeks, you struggle to find your feet. It's okay, you still find your way. Yeah, for me, as a person, I was extremely happy. If you give me the chance in the future, I'll even record a video of my entire PhD pathway. It was interesting how I was able to publish a research paper within 6 months from joining the PhD. I have interesting stories to tell people. And I wish that each of you would also be able to tell similar stories in the future. Thank you.
That's amazing, Doc. So, how did you? Hold on, I'm lost somewhere. How did you like inculcate in the culture of in the Chinese culture? Because you are from Africa. Like,
Yes.
how did you inculcate in the Chinese culture? Did you have to learn the language, or what did it look like for you?
Yes, I mentioned that one of the keys metrics for a PhD student is research readiness. Human behavior. I found behaviors that were new to me, but did not judge. I asked myself, why are they behaving this way? And then the other way around, why am I also behaving this way? Yes. So yes, I did learn the language. I fused myself into the community to learn the best. I worked with my professor, I worked with my colleagues, and I turned out to be a very good student. Yes. So as a PhD student, you shouldn't be judging people, to be honest. Whatever
Yeah.
you see, it might sound strange or look strange to you, but you are a PhD student. Why are people doing this? You'll find the answers and it'll surprise you. Yes, you begin to now appreciate who people are for the rest of your life. Yes. So for
Yeah.
me, I learned the language. I can still speak some basic Chinese. Yes.
Mm. Ni
Then, uh, 你好吗?
oh, hey, ni hao ma.
That's nice. That's nice. So I learned the language. I ate the food. I played games with them. Played sports with them. I traveled with them. I had family friends. I mean, Chinese family friends. So I fused myself into the society. As
Yeah.
such, I was able to learn a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very important. I always tell people that I consult for who have successfully come into Canada that when you are coming into a different culture, don't be to yourself. Like, don't be in your room. Don't go out there, meet people, eat their food. No one is going to poison you here. Eat their food. Ask them, "Well, how did they make their food? Why do they do this? Why
Yes.
do they dress like this? Why do
Yeah.
they dance like this?" Ask those questions, and that's what we call cultural immersion. Because especially now,
Yes.
the world is global. Everywhere you go, there are different facets of different cultures there. So take advantage of that. Now we are going to go into our Q&A session, and so keep your questions coming. There's a question: what advice do you have for people who don't necessarily enjoy research and are looking for an escape through PhD? This one.
There are some PhD programs for which the research is not that intensive. Yes, there are PhD programs that the research itself is a product that maybe you have to build, or a technology that you have to design and then build. It's a policy you have to create. Yet, so it's not all PhDs that you have to publish research papers. Yes, you could find some of those PhD programs. Yes. Uh, However, PhD isn't as difficult as people think it is. Yes,
Mm,
it's not as difficult as people think as it is. Myself, glory be to God, I was able to. I mentioned publish not even one. One was a journal. One was a high-level conference paper within 6 months of joining the PhD. Yes, because I partnered with my supervisor, and then my supervisor advised me on what to do. And I did not wait. I did not wait until 2 years, 3 years into the PhD to jump onto something. So research, I am sure, will be able to guide people who are scared of research to actually love research. Because
mm,
from my seat as we speak, because of research, wherever I go, I find opportunities that can easily be turned into income generating businesses. It's that easy. Yet. So rather, when you think of all the medical models you have to write, all the proofs you have to justify, the research over sometimes 400 pages of PD thesis you have to write. I'm sorry, even the 400 pages is not that difficult. Try to write a
mm.
page, no, a paragraph a day, just one paragraph a day, and
Okay.
check how many pages you get after 4 years.
Wow.
Yes, so it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. And yes, there are other PD programs that are not that research intense. It has research, but the research is more of
Okay.
hands-on experiences and hands-on projects. So people can also try those PhD programs. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Doc. My other question here is: what
Mhm.
training do you suggest for someone who may be good with writing but not communicating or are shy?
Uh, if I found that people who are shy, some of them are not that shy when they meet people they know or they love to communicate with.
Mm,
Yes. For PhD, if you go for a route where you have to write, publish your research, maybe even at reputable international conferences, I'm sorry, sometimes you have to travel to the conference to present your research. And on that stage, you have to present whether you're shy or not shy. Yes. So in terms of shyness, there are paths. If you need solution, we can help you with it. We can help you. Shyness, I know the number one step is just accepting that you are not the best. You're not the best, but you're not the best in the whole world, but you're the best at what you do, or you can be the best at what you do. And then, surprisingly, over time, the shyness will die off. Yeah. So do not be shy because communication would help you. Communication would really help you. And if you feel you need to form a small group of people, like-minded people, so that it could help you grow out of your shyness, I encourage you to do it.
Hmm,
Yes.
great.
Thank
I
you.
mean, shyness never helped anybody.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
next question says, what are the chances of being admitted into a PhD program using an undergraduate? Oh, I doubt. I don't think an undergraduate can get in, but Doc, please is your question.
Yes, an undergraduate can get into a PhD. In fact, US and then Canada, you would find several programs that right after undergraduate you can jump into the PhD. You can, because for some of those programs, the first 2 years will be dedicated to train you on all the course modules for the master's program. Yes, if you're lucky to join one of those PhD programs, you might even be awarded 2 degrees, one for master's and then one for PhD. But it's really common in the US and Canada.
Hmm.
It's common. You can jump straight from bachelor's education into PhD. So people should try it. People should try it out. In fact, you can even apply for a PhD at your final year of your bachelor's degree.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That reminds me.
you can
That.
do that.
Mhm.
So that right after graduation, if you win the full scholarship and then your visa is approved, you jump, you fly for your PhD. It's possible. Yes. There are lots of possibilities out there that people do not know.
Yeah.
Yes. Those who are interested, of course, when they reach out, I'll be available to help them through.
Of course. So Erica is leaving a comment here, Dr. Oppong. I think it's because you were in China. I noticed most of the doctors from Chinese schools love it there. All right, socialization is very important. Mama says, wow. Okay, there's a question here from Abba. Abba says, how do you find a supervisor yourself when you are far back home? Oh, I think Abba missed, but you can, yes.
Okay. Abba or Aboa, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but you can use the AI that we've built, a streamlined AI dot app. You can contact Lydia. She'll give you the link.
Yeah, I'm
All you
reading.
need to do is just type in your research interest, the keyword for your research interest, maybe mental health, and then search. You'd find professors and then read about the professors. If you want to confirm the details, there's a link that you can follow for each professor. Then reach out to the professors direct via email or phone calls. So yes, it's easier than you think. It's easier than you think. And with streamlined AI, you can find, depending on your field, thousands of professors. That is not a difficult task.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. On that Streamline note, knowing that Streamline has been our sponsor for today's session, feel free to use that link and find possible professors. There's also a premium version of Streamline AI where they can help you connect it to the right professor, review your research papers, and all of the services. Dr.
Yeah.
Amos is also happy to consult for students who are willing to put in the work to start their PhD journey.
Mhm.
I'll be more than happy to connect you to him when you are ready. For those of you who registered for the webinar, I will be sending you the resource material for this webinar. And I believe that it will surely come in handy if you're looking to starting your PhD journey. I want to thank all of you for joining. I want to also thank Erica, who has been moderating the chat heavily for me today. Thank you so, so much, Erica. And I appreciate you very, very much. I don't know if we've been able to handle all your questions, but I believe we have done justice to them. Now you can feel confident in navigating your PhD journey today. And I wish you all the very best in your pursuits. Don't forget to reach out to us here at worry if you're looking to study abroad from the high school level all the way to the master's level and now PhD. We really would love to succeed. I mean, see you succeed because we know that there are a lot of professors who are funding and are looking for the right students to match with them. So that is the opportunity here that we would like to share with you. For those of you who will be willing to join a master class, we'll be happy to bring that to you. That will be more detailed and will be very specific and customized to your background. So if you're open to joining that masterclass, we would send a form and we would have you fill that out if you want to join the masterclass at a very small fee because we'll be bringing resource people for the masterclass. Dr. Oppong, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I
Yeah.
appreciate you so much, and thanks for making time for us to encourage us to pursuing our PhD goals. And yes,
Thank you.
thank you all so much, and do have an amazing night from where you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
Thank you all for joining.